All right, Natalie, thanks. It is now time for medical coverage here on Daybreak. We have Dr. Laura Waters, pediatrician at Mercy, joining us. Dr. Waters, thanks for being here. Good morning.
Good morning.
And today we are talking about swim lessons for kids. Something very important as everybody's trying to get out to the lake or the pool. When is it a good time to start? What are some things we should know about swim lessons for children?
So drowning is the #1 cause of death in children ages 1 to 4 after birth defects. So obviously this is a very important topic, and we want to make sure that kids are safe in the water. So swim lessons are generally recommended after age 1. Before that, kids really, their heads are large compared to their bodies, and their necks are relatively weak, and so they really aren't going to be able to get their heads up in order to breathe if they're in the water. So generally, if you want to do a fun, just kind of water play class with your child under age 1, that's okay. But after that is when we really kind of try and focus more on surviving in the water and skills and that sort of thing. So between ages 1 and 4, if you want to do that with your child, so doing a parent-child class is good, where they're actually going to learn techniques and things. And then after age 4 is really when you can really start doing a lot of kind of more of the swim lessons that are pretty typical for what most people are looking for. Gotcha.
So before 1, not really helpful. After 1, they can learn some things, but after 4 is the actual swim lessons.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just some play with parents. They get used to the water, so they're not afraid and things like that. Okay, very good. And what do you look for when choosing swim lessons?
So you want to make sure that it's a multiple session thing. Kids aren't going to just learn how to swim in the first lesson. You want to make sure that you have qualified instructors that are going to teach your kids good skills. You want to make sure that they're learning good water safety tips, not just in the water, but around the water. And the biggest thing is, the focus later on may be sometimes in the strokes and things, but initially they need to be teaching kids how to survive in the water, how to get to an exit point, how to, what happens if you accidentally end up in the water, how do you float, how do you, what do you need to do in order to survive in the water? And so they need to be teaching a lot of those safety skills as well.
And then it's also important to think about the temperature of the water. For children especially, keep the water warm.
Yeah, so children in toddlerhood are very high risk for hypothermia, so you want to make sure that the water is warm during those swim lessons. You also want to make sure that the water is relatively pure, so making sure that they've got good chlorination and things like that, because obviously your kids unfortunately are probably going to suck up quite a bit of that water, so you want to make sure it's okay for them. So
yeah, that's true. They won't know yet how to do that. How do you feel about floaties quickly before we go for children?
So the biggest thing for kids is obviously life jackets, because that's a lot more protective. There's a lot of safety standards regulating those. Floaties in general, you always want to be in arm's reach of your child when they're in the pool. They are not drowning prevention. So those aren't the safest ways to protect your kids in the water, but they are a help.
And you also said in your notes that even if they do have swim lessons, if they know how to swim, that doesn't mean drowning proof.
Absolutely, yes. So nobody is drown proof. At any time, anybody is at risk for drowning, and so you always want to make sure that you're practicing those safety techniques.
All right, some great safety tips. Dr. Laura Waters, thank you so much for being here with us and for all those tips. We'll be right back with more right here on Daybreak, including how airports are still feeling the effects of the holiday weekend and just how many flights had to be canceled. And we'll take you to the celebration of freedom in Bolivar. 6:43. We'll be right back.